along. I'm a realtor here in beautiful, sunny Southern California, and today I'm going to be giving you 7 things you need to consider before you purchase your first home. Let's get into it. First thing that I would say you need to focus on, or at least consider when you're thinking about purchasing a new home, is maintenance and repairs. So if you've been living with your parents, if you've been living in an apartment, this is probably something that you haven't had to really consider. If you're living in an apartment, that apartment building typically has a maintenance team that will come in and do random repairs and maintenance as needed. If you lived with your parents, they probably took care of that on their end as well. You probably had a little bit of a glimpse into it, but not necessarily something where you were solely responsible. And this can sometimes not necessarily be considered by first-time home buyers because you haven't had to deal with it before. So when you're considering repairs and maintenance on your home, it's really important to have something like a sinking fund or a separate savings account where you're basically setting money aside up to a certain amount so that way you have everything. You have the necessary funds needed if you need to come in and pull from that. If the smoke detector goes out, or if there's a different issue with your home, you can come in and do that. The amount that you kind of want to set aside really depends, but $1,000 or $1,500 is usually a really good starting place because that will give you a set, at least something to pull from. For larger things such as like a roof or plumbing, that does need to be replaced over the long term. So you may want to set up a separate account or something where you're basically just taking that into consideration. That way when that does happen eventually, you're prepared for it. You have that money set aside and dedicated to the property's maintenance and repairs. If you have a pool, that's also something to consider. You have additional maintenance as far as just keeping the pool chlorinated and in the right pH balance. And there's also going to be additional repairs that you need to consider when owning a home with a pool. Something else to consider when you're buying a home under the repairs and maintenance category is that when you buy a home, that home will typically come with a home warranty. Whoever your agent is in the transaction, if you're buying here in OC, that'll be our team. If you're buying outside of OC, LA area, outside of California, you'll definitely want to talk to your agent about the home warranty that you're going to be purchasing to understand what's covered and for how long, because some of the things that could go wrong with your home could potentially be covered fully, or a portion of it could be covered under the home warranty that you purchase with your home. In California, in the market that we're in right now, typically the home warranty is actually paid by the seller. So the buyer wouldn't necessarily have to purchase that in escrow. So that's definitely something to chat with your agent about, and also the home warranty company to understand a little bit more about what's covered and what's not covered in the home warranty of your home. The second thing to consider when you are purchasing a home that you may not have previously thought of is property taxes. So property taxes vary greatly by city, by county, by state. So there isn't like a blanket percentage or even amount that I could give you to say that every home in the US has this amount of property tax, or every home in this county has this amount of property tax, because it greatly differs even from neighborhood to neighborhood. So one thing you're going to want to consider is talking to your agent and your lender to understand how much property taxes you'll be paying. And you can do that in the escrow process. You can chat with your agent and lender about that. It's really, really important to have that open conversation with them about how much property tax you'll be paying, if there's additional property taxes, such as a Melrose tax associated with your property tax. The nice thing is that typically, I will say typically, but not always, again, check with your agent, have that conversation with them. Typically, your property tax will actually be rolled into like your mortgage payment. So you basically pay the escrow account and they'll go ahead and take care of that. So that's definitely something to consider though, because that is an additional expense that not everyone considers. It's not just your mortgage that you're paying every month. You're also paying property tax typically, and then you'll also potentially be paying an HOA. So those are all of the things that you need to consider because you're not just paying the mortgage. The third thing you want to consider when you are looking to purchase a home or potentially move into a new area is the area itself, the neighborhoods. You know, different neighborhoods and different areas are going to appeal to different people differently. What I always recommend is, one, check out my YouTube channel. I have a variety of options and neighborhood tours that gives you a little bit of information, at least a visual, so you can start seeing neighborhoods that you potentially want to live in and understanding if you prefer one over the other. And if you're not local to that area, that is a great option. If you are local to an area, I would always recommend driving the neighborhood, walking the streets, really just getting in there to see if you can feel that that's a place that you would want to live. So definitely check out our YouTube page for other videos in Orange County, different neighborhoods that you can see. If you're not local, and then if you're local, still check out the YouTube options, and then also just drive around the neighborhood to really get a feel for that area. The thing you want to consider before you really start your home buying process is your credit. So this is a big one because a lot of times people will check their credit on like their banking app or Credit Karma, and that's not always 100% accurate. So I would actually recommend checking your credit with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and actually making an account on their website and seeing what populates for those 3 credit bureaus. Because a lot of times Credit Karma or just pulling your credit through your banking app, which a lot of banks offer, that's not always going to be 100% accurate, unfortunately. So I would actually make accounts with all 3 of the credit bureaus to understand what's on there. And then also talk to your agent and your lender. Your lender should be able to help you with your credit. So sometimes there's little things that you can tweak to basically improve your credit. So say like you want to make a full payment at the end of the month. Sometimes actually by splitting the payment, so say your payment is $500 at the end of the month. Sometimes if you make a payment for $250 and then another one for $250, that can actually boost your credit score. Sometimes people think that closing accounts will boost their credit score, when actuality, sometimes adding an additional account, such as another credit card, will actually boost your credit score because you need to have a wide variety of different lanes where you're basically paying credit on to prove that you know how to pay back credit. So again, have that conversation with your lender and your realtor about how to improve your credit, what you can do, especially if you're considering buying a home 3 to 6 months out. Set up that game plan so that way you can go into that and start basically tweaking the little things, because 10 to 20 points can make a difference in your interest rate. So if you have that time to prepare, if you want to buy a home in 6 to 12 months, you have the opportunity to basically refine and finesse your credit to basically boost it a couple points, which could save you money in the long run. So definitely something to consider. Work on your credit, at least know where you're at. Make accounts with those 3 credit bureaus, at least know where you're at. And if you feel the need to specifically work on an area, then do that as well. The 5th thing to consider when you are looking to purchase a new home, most people know this one, is saving for a down payment. So that down payment can be anywhere between 0 to 20%. It really depends. And with some down payment assistance programs, you can get into homes with 0% down. However, you still have to consider closing costs. So usually, typically, no matter what, to get into a home, you're gonna have to have some sort of cash or capital available to get into the home. So even if you say you get into a loan program that has a 0% down plan, typically they'll have you pay closing costs as well. So you still will need a certain amount of cash available to purchase a home. So if you're, again, planning on purchasing a home a couple years out or a little bit out, start building up those cash reserves. That way you can throw that money into your down payment and into your closing costs. And again, that down payment really depends. For first-time home buyers, it's usually between 3 and 10%. So that's something to consider. If it's your second or third home, typically you have the equity from your first home that you can roll over into the other one, and that's where we start seeing the 10 to 50%, 100% down on a home. So definitely something to consider. Consider the down payment, consider the closing costs. Down payment can be anywhere between 0 and 20%. Usually that 3 to 10 range is more common with first-time home buyers. And then additionally, consider the closing costs, which can typically be averaged out to about 2 to 3% of the total purchase price of the home. So if you're looking to kind of gauge how much cash you would need, those are general guidelines to go off of. The sixth thing that you will want to consider when you are looking to purchase a home is to get pre-qualified. This is a step that not a lot of people consider, but getting pre-qualified basically means that you're talking to a lender, you're giving them your file, you're giving them your income, your debt, your credit score, all the factors that they consider to basically round out and give you an estimate of basically how much home you can afford, what type of payment you can afford, and they'll typically line out like, hey, if you put 5% down, you'll get this rate, versus if you put 10 or 20% down, you can get this rate. So getting pre-approved with a lender basically gives you a number that you can go off of. So say the lender says, hey, you're pre-approved for $800,000, then you can say, okay, awesome, I know that I can go up to about $800,000. Typically you want to go a little bit under that, so maybe $750,000, $775,000, and you can understand what your payment would be at those purchase prices. And also, having a pre-qualification letter greatly impacts your negotiation strategies when you're in escrow. So a lot of times, if you don't have a pre-qualification letter, your offer when you submit it won't even be considered, because it's not considered that you're necessarily what we call ready, willing, and able. So if you haven't talked to a lender, if you don't have all your finances in check, a lot of times they won't necessarily consider your offer as a good offer, because it shows that you haven't done the necessary step of understanding where your finances are at. So definitely get a pre-approval. You can talk to a lender to do that. Typically your realtor will have a reference to a lender who they use in their business. So you can definitely check the description box, reach out to us. We can send you a referral for that if you want to understand and get a pre-approval of where your payment would be and how much house you can afford. All right, so the seventh and last thing to consider, at least in this video, to consider when you are looking to purchase a home in a new area or moving to a new area is your team. So most people can't purchase a home by themselves. So you definitely want to have a team that knows the area, knows the ins and outs of a real estate transaction to walk you through it. So call us, text us. Our number is in the description box below. We want to set up a Zoom to understand you and to get to know you, how we can best support you in your home ownership journey. So if you want to send us a quick text, we can set up a Zoom call, or if you want to book a time below to set up a Zoom call, our team is ready and here to help you walk through the process of purchasing a home, which is absolutely incredible. But we do this every day. This is our job. This is what our team does. We have a team of incredible agents in the OC area ready to support you in your homeownership journey. If you are moving here, we know the area, we live here. So definitely reach out to us. You want to have an awesome team who is behind you in the boots on the ground team. So definitely reach out to us and we can see how we can help you in your homeownership journey. All right, y'all, so that is the 7 things to consider when you are looking to purchase a home. I would definitely reach out to us, book a call or send us a text. Let us know you're looking. That way we can give you some additional information and support you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment down below. Let me know which of these 7 things you found most surprising or that kind of shocked you a little bit. Hope you guys are having a great day. We will see you soon.